New entity. Look at this new garden subfloor entity. It's a bird. Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. As you probably know, every day up until the release of the garden subfloor, or now I should say the outdoors subfloor, a new teaser will be released. And today's is definitely worth sticking around for, as it reveals a brand new entity coming to the new subfloor. These are the Caws, special bird-like entities that, although may seem innocent at first, they may just be hiding a terrifying and dark secret. In this video, we'll be analyzing all of the new information we received about them today, such as their appearance and behaviors, as well as the information we got from them from yesterday's sneak peek of the outdoor subfloor as a whole, as these new entities were actually introduced there, not just in today's teaser. We have got a lot to discuss in this video, so with all of that being said, let's begin. Alright, so what exactly are the Caws? These are a new entity type that will be found throughout the garden subfloor, and appearance-wise they resemble crow-like birds. They feature completely black feathers with the exception of their stomachs, which are white. On their sides of their head are two giant eyes, kind of like how Louie has giant eyes. And of course, like all birds, they have a beak. They also feature a variety of different twitching animations they play when idle, making the entity extremely animation dynamic. In fact, just based on this teaser alone, it appears these birds have the most animations out of almost every entity in the entire game. So a lot of time and care was put into making them as immersive as possible. Now, this teaser gives us an in-depth look at what this entity's appearance is, but how do they behave functionally? Well, fortunately, the answer to this question was partially revealed in the outdoor subfloor teaser trailer. In this trailer, the Caws, much like the Gloombats, always appear in groups rather than appearing individually. Additionally, based on that teaser as well as today's, it seems one of their primary spawn locations are on top of these fountains. Now, in terms of actual behaviors, the Caws are revealed to fly away from players who get too close to them, resulting in, well, them cawing, which emits a ton of noise. This is pretty much their only known functionality, as after they fly away, they're just gone, because, well, they flied away. And although at first it may seem to be just for ambience, it may serve a more malicious purpose. There are actually several pieces of evidence to support this claim. For example, the developers directly hinted at it in today's teaser. The idea that they are a bad omen is brought up, which obviously states that the entity may be a harmful rather than helpful force, but more on that a little later. Additionally, it isn't like the developers to typically spend all this time and resources on an entity solely for ambient purposes. If we take a look at every single entity in the game, we can see they all serve some type of gameplay purpose. Given how the Caws were given a plethora of unique animations as well as an entire model, it's likely them just being an ambient character isn't their only function. However, in the likely scenario that the Caws do have a gameplay behavior, what could it be? Well, I actually think it ties back into the whole bad omen aspect the developers mentioned in today's teaser. Given how the Caws fly away and make noise upon the arrival of a player, I believe that this event would play a key role into how they affect the gameplay. What I, as well as others, believe is that when the Caws do generate all of this noise, it would actually attract the attention of another threat or entity. As you may know, it was recently confirmed that the Groundskeeper will be coming to the outdoor subfloor, evident by how their arm and hat can be seen in the teaser trailer, as well as previous teasers released. And given how they have appeared here, it is believed that they serve a major role in the outdoor subfloor. Think of something such as haste in the back door. I suspect the Groundskeeper, or maybe even Abraham, as they were also teased to be coming, would be a constantly reoccurring threat that the player would have to avoid throughout the outdoors. And the Caws could be on their side. What I am thinking is that if the player does alert the Caws and causes them to screech and fly away, all of that noise would alert the attention of whatever entity is hunting us down, drawing them towards us, whether that be the Groundskeeper or Abraham, making the process of escaping said entity a whole lot harder. However, even with this in mind, a question does remain. How would players avoid setting off the Caws? Well, I actually think the answer to this question is rather simple. As you may recall, in order to go undetected from Figure, players must crouch whenever they are nearby him. So I believe this same mechanic could be present with the Caws. Simply just walking by them would cause the entity to erupt in noise, alerting the attention of whatever is hunting you down, whether that be the Groundskeeper or Abraham. However, crouching by them wouldn't bother the entities as they can't really hear you, allowing you to easily escape their presence without being detected. This is just a theory, but I do feel it's one of the most likely, as it makes sense from a gameplay perspective and it ties into how the entity is said to possibly be a bad omen, which could hint towards the fact that it's an omen towards whatever entity is hunting you down in the subfloor. Now, although that wraps up my theories for how this entity works functionally, I do have some more speculations that could explain their rather odd appearance, as contrary to what you may believe, they are actually an anomaly when it comes to how entities are designed. As you may know, Doors typically doesn't feature real animals as entities. Most animals present, however, are actual hybrids between two animals in real life. For example, gloom bats are a hybrid between a bat and a moth, and Louie is a hybrid between a rat and a star-nosed mole. In the case of Louie, the star-nosed mole only makes up the entity's nose, which is star-shaped, but it's still a hybrid. This naturally means it's unlikely the Caws are just regular birds, but rather a hybrid of two different animals. However, unlike the previous two examples I mentioned, figuring out what those two animals are that make up the Caws could be a lot more difficult. Obviously, given their color scheme and how they, like their name suggests, they caw, it's likely one animal that makes up these entities are crows. As for the second animal, that is a lot harder to tell. Maybe it's something like an owl or a patoo, given how they both have giant eyes like the Caws. However, it's quite hard to make out. I'd also like to mention that similar to Louie, the eyes could just be not related to the entities that make up this entity. Or should I say animals. So that's also something that should be taken into consideration. Anyways, to summarize, a new entity was revealed to be coming to the outdoor subfloor indoors, those being the Caws. They are black-colored birds that usually hang out in groups near fountains, and when players go near them, they erupt into a noise frenzy. It is believed that when this occurs, it would alert the attention of another entity who is attempting to hunt you down. Given how it's stated the entities could be a bad omen, and in order to avoid being detected by the Caws, I theorize you would just need to crouch by them, similar to how players crouch to avoid Figure. All in all though, I am very impressed by the quality of this new entity. From its design to its animation, it really looks immersive, and I think it will make a fine addition to the subfloor even if my own theories are wrong. Anyways, with all of that being said, let me know in the comments what you think of this new entity, including how its functionality could work as well as what two animals make up its design, as I highly doubt these are just normal birds. And thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.